Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Backstage Spotlight. Today we have with us Sydney Isitt-Ager. Hello.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. For those people who aren't familiar with who you are, would you like to introduce yourself and say what you've done in your childhood and what you're doing now?
Yeah, so my name's Sydney. I'm from West Midlands, Coventry area. Um, I started off in film probably as a child when I was 9 years old. Um, Mainly because that's like our family business, really. So I didn't really have a choice. Um, and then I went on to go to drama school, and I'm currently on tour doing musical theatre with the new production of I Should Be So Lucky.
Amazing. So talk to me about when you were younger. So you said you started when you were 9 years old. Your parents were heavily involved with the writing of Nativity, the film. So how did that come about that you were actually going to be in it?
I had always done like dancing and acting like, as a child, just like um, like a Saturday morning kind of vibe. Um, and then my mum got the idea for Nativity mainly because of our family. One being her mum being a pushy mother and ringing up the school demanding that her daughters are Mary kind of thing. That's a whole story in itself. And then another because she came to see me in my school nativity when I was probably about 6, and all like just saw the stress of all the teachers and like how they were more nervous than us kids, and like she just watched it from afar and just thought, this what a great thing that everyone can relate to, because who hasn't done a school nativity sort of thing. um and then yeah, she just wanted real kids, and at that time like I wasn't stagey. Like I said, I did like Saturday morning dancing and stuff, but the main thing about those films is that they are just real kids out of local schools. They're not picked from London and drama schools or anything like that. They're just like your average child from Coventry. So I think that's why I was part of it, because I was just like a normal kid.
Yeah. What an experience it must have been at that age to do all of that TV work. How did they film it? Because it seems as though like there wasn't much of a script.
Yeah, so the whole thing is improvised. Like mum will always go in with, she knows what she wants and she knows what how she wants the scene to play out, but words wise, she'll just go to the actors. So in this scene, I need you to have a little bit of an argument because you've done this and you've done that. Go. Do you know what I mean? So it's just completely up to them. We film everything in chronological order, so it makes it so much easier to improv because you know what's just happened. So
Yeah.
it's a lot easier. And for us kids, I was 9 at the time, and I honestly thought it was real life. Like I had no idea that it was a film. Like I honestly thought I just went to school, sat in a classroom, was like really naughty, throwing paper airplanes, having a ball, put on a play. I was just living my best life as a 9-year-old. I had no idea. Mr. Madden's once shouted at me and I started crying because I thought it was real. Like it's, yeah,
Oh,
crazy.
that is brilliant. What was your most memorable moment filming for Nativity?
um oh, do you know, probably there's like a montage in the first film where they go on like all these trips, like they go and see a baby being born, they go and see real animals from the nativity and stuff like that. So I think they were like the most fun for me as a child, because like we actually went to a farm and we got to like take the animals through the school and stuff. So it was literally just like being on a crazy school trip, this big man child. Like it was just so fun.
Oh, hilarious. So then what was the time process between like your mum thinking of the idea and then writing it and it being developed into a film? Because that must have not been a short process.
No, I say these things take so much time for you to just like have the idea initially, and then you have to obviously find people that will invest in it and like help you put it on, because you need money from somewhere and stuff like that. So I think that's what takes the most time, is just to try and find people that believe in it as much as you and want to invest in it and want to make it happen. I think that's probably the longest period of time. So I'd say it was probably a couple of years before it actually even began filming. And then filming's about 6 weeks long. And then the edit, which my dad does, so my dad's the editor on all
Wow.
of her films, that takes about 6 months to a year normally. So it's like a long process from the initial conception of the idea to actually being released is like a good 5 years.
Yeah, I can imagine. And how did you find it when it was released and everyone just suddenly loved it?
Do you know what? I don't think I even realised. I think I realise more now when people my age notice and they go, "Oh my god, that was my childhood." That makes me realise, "Oh my god, it's actually huge." You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
think at the time I was just like a little kid, didn't have a bloody clue what was going on.
Yeah, and 'cause,
But
like,
yeah.
it was part of your family as well, you probably
Yeah.
just thought it was, like, normal,
Yeah,
whereas
exactly.
everyone's
Yeah.
just watching it with their families at Christmas.
Yeah. Like it's so like because I was raised in that sort of world, it never really like bothered me that much. Like I don't know, I was just used to it. I just thought, yeah, it's another film. It is what it is.
So when did you decide you wanted to audition for drama schools and, like, musical theatre courses?
So I went to like a normal school up until GCSEs, did that, realised I'm actually not that clever. I was like, I'm really not academic and I don't want to do anything. I was like, I can't do maths. I'm all right at English because it's creative, but I'm not like the best. Do you know what I mean? I was like, what can I do? And I'd always done dancing and acting and singing and all that, like, amateurly. Um, and then a sixth form college opened in Birmingham, which is about a 20-minute train from like where I live, and it's called BOA, and it was like the sister school of the Brit kind of thing. That's what they were selling it as. And they did like a BTEC level 3 in like musical theatre, dance, filmmaking, acting. Like they had all these different creative courses, which you just don't have in the West Midlands. Like it was such a new thing when it opened. It was like the coolest thing. So I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And people went from 16 in my school, but I was like, no, I'm going to get my GCSEs just in case because you never know what's going to happen. So I'm going to get that under my belt and then I'll audition at 18. So that's what I did. I went there for 2 years on the musical theatre course. And then they were like the best 2 years of my life in the fact that we just had so much fun. Like it was a proper, like, you made good friends, like friends for life kind of thing. And just like, we were a bit naughty, I'll say. But like, it was just such a fun time. And then I did a foundation course in Birmingham for a year, mainly because I wasn't ready to move away yet. Because I'm an
Yeah.
only child, I was very anxious as a person. I just, at that point in my life, at 18, I was like, I don't even know how to make toast. You know what I mean? I was like, I can't live on my own. I'm just a baby. So that's why it baffles me when people go to college at 16.
Yeah.
I think fair play, amazing, but I just couldn't never do that. So yeah, and then I went and did a foundation course in Birmingham for a year. And then I auditioned for drama schools in London. And I got offered Lane Foundation. And then I got offered like a few other places. Not many though, literally like another one course, I think. And I took Lane Foundation mainly because I wasn't going to audition for Lane in the first place anyway,
Mm.
because all I knew about it was that it's a dancing school, and I was like, I'm not a dancer, say, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it put me off completely. And then my friends were like, oh, we're all auditioning, go on, like, just do it for a laugh. So I was like, oh, all right. So then I got off a foundation. I was like, do you know what? I actually think that place would push me the most out of everywhere. So I went there for a year. Lane Foundation is so hard.
Is
Like,
it?
it is so hard. Like, it's amazing. And I changed completely in that year. But it's in some ways harder than the 3 year. Like,
Mm.
I just think it's just so intense. Everything they cram into that couple months is just wild. But you learn so much. And then
Yeah.
I auditioned and got into the 3 year. And then, yeah, graduated and here I am.
Amazing. When you were talking about the Lane Foundation course, don't they basically prepare you for another round of auditions? So you get your solo, like you get to work on your song. How
Yeah.
did you find that, like going to audition a second time round?
But I think I'm very much someone that my age helped me a lot. So I'm 24 now, going to be 25 next month. So my second round of audition, I was 19. And I
Yeah.
think, like I said, me at 16, I was a literal baby. Some people are so mature for their age. I was not. So, like, I think I needed that year for just like mindset wise, but also what they teach you is so amazing. Yeah, like the solo dance, like I can't even remember what my first one was when I went to Lane, but I can assure you it was shocking, like dreadful. I don't know how they even offered me foundation. Yeah, things like that, like they really do prepare you to go around and audition again. And I felt way more confident going out a second time. So I was like, I know what to expect, and
Yeah,
I've got so many more skills under my belt than what I had before. So
yeah. A lot of people who are wanting to audition at the moment watch this podcast. What advice would you give them going into auditions?
don't be who you think they want you to be, if that makes any
Yes.
sense. So don't go in and think, say for example, Lane, oh, they only want ballet dancers. I'm not good enough. I can only do, I'm a singer. Do you know what I mean? Don't go in and think I have to be the best ballet dancer when that's not you. You just have to showcase the best of you. If they don't want you, that's their loss. Do you know what I mean? You're probably better suited somewhere else. But
Yeah.
don't go in and think they want me to be this person, so I'm going to try and be that, because it just doesn't go in your favor, and it never really works out. You never feel like yourself, and you need to be the best person that you can be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, such good advice. What would you say your biggest challenge was in your 3 years on the diploma course?
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of challenges. Probably my confidence has always been my personal biggest issue, just because, like I said, I was never. I think when I went, everyone's like, "So what are you? Are you a singer or are you a dancer or an actor?" They try and like
Yeah.
pigeonhole you, and I was like, "I'm neither." Like I just sort of float around. Like I'm all right at all three. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not. Can't point my toes. Can't whack my leg up to my head. And I think it was really hard sitting in that with people that excel so much in each discipline, and just sort of not really knowing where you sit and comparing yourself and things like that. I think that was my own personal struggle that I went through over those 3 years. But there was definitely teachers that helped me, like Jackie Jameson. I don't know if she's still there right now, but
Yeah.
she was the one person for me that like took me under her wing and was like, right, you need to sort this out. Come on. Do
She's
you know
so
what I mean?
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so lovely. So when you graduated, are you still with the college agent? Because I know some people stay on, or did you reach out and get your own agent?
So I stayed with the college agent for like over a year. I've only just changed agents.
Right.
Um, Mainly because I think because we were in like the years of COVID when I was there.
Yeah.
So we didn't really get much of like agent showcase kind of things. We were kind of the first year that sort of did that. Um, so yeah, I stayed with the Lane agency for a while, and then I think this last summer I was like, okay, I need to branch out, because they kind of focus on the new surges, which totally makes sense. Obviously, they're going to. Do you know what I mean? Like that's their
And also you
priority.
might find an agent that suits what you want to do more than the lane agency
Exactly.
might. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're so like wide range of like all these people at the college. They. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've just switched to, do you know, Russell Smith
Yes,
Associates?
heard of, yeah.
Just signed with him.
Amazing.
Lovely. Yeah, I'm having a great time so far.
So how was your process reaching out to agents and signing with one? Because I know that some people can struggle with that part of being a graduate.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely struggled with that. I think there's a fair few people that just got signed straight away and like
Yeah.
fair dues. But I think I struggled with that a lot, and mainly knowing like what agents reach out to, who's the best for me, sort of thing. Like I'm lucky as in a lot of people in the industry, so I was able to talk to them and say, who's your agent? Are they any good? You know, do you have a good relationship with them? Blah blah. So I think that was super helpful for me. But I get it can be so hard because you're just like Googling agencies and you're like, I don't know any of these people. So I think the only way to do it is to reach out to as many as you can, have as many meetings as you can get, and then you get the choice, rather than going, I need an agent, I need an agent, I'll just sign with the first one. Do you know what I mean? I think it's best to try and have as many options as you can, and then you can decide.
Yeah, and I guess what's so good about Lane and how they do it for us is that we actually have that opportunity to stay with the college for a while,
Absolutely.
like settle us into the grad life, and
Yeah.
then that's when we can make contacts like with agents and stuff, and like
Yeah.
I think that's really helpful for. I don't know how you found it, but for me, I think
Yeah.
it's good.
No, totally, because it can feel, especially in third year, it can feel like so much pressure. Like that's your end goal, is to get an agent, really, like in your mind. And when you don't, it's like, what was the point? Why did I go to college for 3 years when I can't get an agent? Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's not what it's about. Like, you really have to give it time, and then it will work out the best for you in the long run. Absolutely.
What was your first job leaving college?
So since graduating, I went into Nativity the musical. I think that was my first job, and that
Yeah.
started in the September, October time of
Yeah,
that
nice
year.
little turnaround.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the same time people would go into pantos kind of thing, because it's a
Yeah.
Christmas show. So I just had the summer to like chill, really. After 3 years of pure graft, I was like, obviously like trying to audition and stuff, and I was still living in London. Um, but yeah, I just didn't put too much pressure on myself, because
Yeah.
most people don't get jobs for like, years, really. It depends. It's just luck of the draw half the time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was very lucky to get that job. Again, it was for my mom. So again, I'm so aware how lucky I am to even be seen for that. But yeah, that was a great job. It was so fun.
How did it compare to the film?
So I did the workshop for the musical when I was probably about 14. So
Yeah.
like I've seen that show grow from, again, conception to what it is now. Um, the show is so different to the film, but so good. Like it's obviously the same story, but
Yeah.
it feels so different when you watch it as well. Like, because obviously it's been going on for years. Like even since before I graduated, it's been on tour and at the Apollo and stuff like that. So I've been to see it so many times, and like the show is just amazing. Like obviously I'm biased, but it really is amazing. Like there's this one moment towards the end where, I don't know if you remember from the film, where there's like a power cut in the show and all
Yeah.
this, and all the audience get their torches out on their phones and start like, we sing like One Night One Moment at that point, and the whole set is just lit up with people's phones, and oh, it's really
Oh,
magical.
that's so nice. And I guess it will be different in a sense that you said the film, when they created that, it was mostly like improvised, whereas the musical, I assume, would have a script.
So it does, but it's very free. So
Right.
you get given a script, especially if you're like the leads.
Yeah.
You get given a script, but it's still, if you want to change a little joke here to make it more modern, or if you think this would work better, give it a go, and Deb will say that works, or never do that again. Do you know what I mean? It's very
Yeah.
like free. So although there is like the bones there, you're so welcome to adapt it to make it current.
Yeah, that's so nice because it also, for the audience, makes them feel like they're seeing a show that has never been done in that way before.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it first came about, Simon Lipkin played Mr. Poppy, and he's a genius with improvisation. So I obviously, as a 17-year-old, whenever it first came out, I went to see it so many times, and every night was a different show, because he'd just change it up every night, which just keeps it so fresh for not only the audience but for the performers on stage. Because when you're doing a show for that long, you need it to keep it fresh somehow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it keeps you on your toes as well because you don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. So talk to us about I Should Be So Lucky. How is it being on tour?
It's amazing. I've never toured before.
Yeah.
Um, so it's, yeah, it's crazy. Like it's absolutely wild touring.
Is
And
it
like,
like, what's the turnaround time and how is it traveling from venue to venue?
yeah, so right now I've got a week off, so I'm at home
Nice.
chilling, thank God. But we've recently just done like a crazy leg of the tour. So we've just done weekly runs in places,
Yeah.
and we've gone from like Oxford all the way up to Glasgow, then Glasgow all the way to Hull. And
Oh,
it's, we only have Sundays off. So
yeah. So
that's been our travel
travel
days.
day.
So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
been absolutely exhausting. I think that's probably the worst bit of the tour we've just done, hopefully. Because
Yeah,
the
that's
rest of it, we've got a few
hardest.
Tuesday starts coming up, which is nice because you actually get a day off and then a travel day.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but
really
yeah.
nice. What's your favourite venue been so far?
Don't know. I loved Glasgow because the crowds were absolutely wild. Like, I've never experienced it. Like, they were they were like heckling at one point. Like, it was crazy. But they loved it. Manchester, we opened in Manchester. They were wild as well. Like, sold out. They were just crazy. We also had a fight in the crowd at one point. Like, they were
Oh.
absolutely wild. But they loved it, which is it's so nice and so much like more rewarding as a performer when you can see how much the crowd just love it.
Yeah.
Um, but I'd say as like an actual place, I really liked Plymouth just because it's by the sea, and I'm from the middle of the UK, so I just don't
Yeah.
get to see the sea. So when we're by like a seaside town, I'm like, love my life.
Yeah, it must be so nice, and it'll be nicer as the weather gets better as well.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
So nice. So tell us a bit about the show. What basically is it about?
So it's based on the music of Stock Aitken and Waterman. So they were big with hits like Kylie Minogue hits, Rick Astley. They wrote music for them. So say Never Gonna Give You Up, I Should Be So Lucky, Venus, all
Yeah,
those sorts of songs they wrote.
classics.
Yeah, classic bangers. So it's basically a musical using those songs to help the story.
Like a
So it's based
jukebox.
on a girl called Ella and her fiance Nathan, and it opens with their wedding, and then he jilts her at the altar.
Oh.
Spoiler alert. And and the family are like, do you know what? Screw it, we're gonna take you on the honeymoon anyway. You don't need him. You're going with your mom, your nan, your sister, and your two best friends. So it's about that journey on the honeymoon to Turkey and how, and they all have their own stories. Like Bonnie, the best friend, she has unrequited love with the fiance's best friend, and then Scott Page plays Michael, and he falls in love with Hassan the masseuse, and they sing the song Toy Boy together. Like it's a lovely love story for everyone.
Nice. And if you could describe it in 3 words for people to come and see it, what would you say?
Camp,
Yeah.
sparkly, vibes.
Oh, great. And what would be your dream performance role to do in the future? Where would you like to see yourself?
Do you know what? A lot of roles that I would love to do, I'd have to be way older. So things like Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
Like I love all them like nuts, funny characters. Like the comedic characters are ones I love. Like Paulette in Legally Blonde. Like those kind of things.
Yeah.
They're yeah, I'd love to do them.
Oh, great. And would you ever see yourself writing, like going down the kind of behind the scenes path like your family have?
Yeah, so I think that's probably hopefully where I'll end up because that comes way more naturally to me than performing. So
Mm.
like I'm always helping mum with ideas and stuff like that. I don't think I'd so much go down the writing route because I'm not, like I said, I'm not that academic. But I think directing for sure is,
Yeah.
yeah, just how my brain works. I yeah, definitely see myself doing that.
Yeah, that would be great. And the last thing I always ask anyone who joins me on my podcast is if you
Mhm.
could like nominate someone to come on the podcast to like share their knowledge of the industry, who would it be?
Oh, that's hard. Probably. Do you know Matthew Rowland?
I've recognized the name.
He's currently on the international tour of Matilda, playing Mr. Wormwood.
Yes.
He
Yes.
was also in Nativity the musical with me last Christmas. He
Yeah.
is the most hilarious man,
Okay.
and he's very knowledgeable. So yeah, probably him. He'd be a
Okay,
good
I
laugh.
will definitely reach out. Listen,
Real.
Sydney, thank you so much. Everyone listening, make sure you give the podcast 5-star review, check the socials out, and make sure you follow the Instagram. And we'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you, Sydney.
Bye. Thank you.